Gareth Ike, finding joy is an act of defiance. It is. And this is what I'm talking about with my nothing. I'm happy with my nothing. I just had a bowl of ice cream with strawberry yogurt in it. Scrumptious. Scrumdiddlyumptious. Bonk bonk. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. Those who have everything, more than they could, like, they've got too much. Where money's no concern, they're making thousands a day, hundreds of thousands a day, some millions a day. And I'm like, I have very, very, very little. And I'm really comfortable with my very, very, very little. I like my nothing. It's stress-free. I've had, not loads, but we was pretty well off. Wasn't rich, but we was semi-wealthy. I worked a lot of hours and I was time poor. Just now Gareth Ike puts it. I love it. This is really on point. This is everything they want to take from us.
Hello and welcome to Gareth Ike this week. Bit of a different intro today. I was driving in to the studio where I normally sort of sit down and write the show and plan the show and obviously film the show. And I thought to myself, do you know what? Doesn't feel like there's a lot of joy in the world right now. Everyone's struggling with it. And what I enjoy is just being outside, being in the countryside and being in boggy mud. So I thought, you know what? So I pulled off the dual carriageway and came and found myself somewhere quiet just to have a walk and do the intro here, because I've been talking to quite a lot of people over the last couple of days, people messaging me that are really struggling. And I'm talking about strong people, I'm talking about warriors, I'm talking about people that were there in the COVID era, right on the front line. I'm talking about very, very strong people that are really struggling with the way the world is at the moment and feeling lost and dejected and defeated even. But you know what? It doesn't matter how tough you are as a boxer. Everyone can get punched out in the end, right? You take enough blows to the head. In the end, you're exhausted. And imagine, as a boxer, in that analogy, that you don't get back to the corner. You don't get back to your trainer and grab some water and treat a wound and have a breather. And we haven't had a breather for a long time, have we? And so it makes me think, like, there's four kinds of people in society for me. You've got your complete psychopaths. They are, thankfully, a small minority. You've then got those that are kind of indifferent or even oblivious to the state of the world and what's going on. They're sat at home watching bargain and eating biscuits, not bothered. And then you've got those, a bigger minority, but still a minority, that are angry. But they're angry to the point where they'll chuck a rock at a copper. Like, they are angry with the way the world is. And I think the establishment is probably happy with those three out of the four, because one, they can relate to, the psychopaths. Those that are indifferent to it or oblivious to it, well, they're fine, they're dealt with, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to stand up to you.
They're the ones that are painful to have a conversation with, because you can't have a conversation with them because it's like there's nothing there. Lights are on, but there's definitely nobody home.
And those that are so angry that they're not thinking right and they're chucking a rock at a copper,
they're more than fine. They're more than fine. They're the protesters, they're the nutters, they're the ones that are easy to rally up so that they can bring in new legislations. They're the people following people. I just need someone to rally behind. They're the people, I'm talking to you people that are like that in that. There's a lot of you in that group. I've been close. People like Scott Challen, Ricardo Bosie and Pauline Hanson and many, many more. Abiy Amini, Simeon Boykoff. The list goes on and on. Everyone that wants to have a protest. They prey on you people. They're using you. They make you feel like they're carrying you on their back when they're actually riding on yours. Always remember that. Pauline Hanson, I'm telling you now, look, I don't give a shit. I told them to their face. I said, I'm not here to stroke your ego. I said, I don't do fakery. I don't do suck, was actually how I put it. I don't do suck. I can't pretend to be someone's friend. And that's what I wrote in the letter. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be your friend. And then everything that... Some things that needed to be said were said. I've still got a lot. They didn't even get... Not even a quarter of it. I want to see what they do with that. And if they do the right thing, then they might get some more. We shall see. Yeah. The ralliers. I don't know if Pauline realises it or not. She's a skyrocket. You people, you're a fuel. She's riding on your back. She's kind of got you thinking that she's carrying you people, and you think that, but you're actually carrying her. She's riding on your back, and you're going to throw her up into the air, and she's going to go up, and she's going to resign. She's a skyrocket. She's going to go up. She's not going to come back down again. She's not going to land. She's going to go up and hand it over. Guaranteed. All the other politicians recognise that. Everyone, there's a game being played. Those who aren't throwing themselves under the bus to come back later are riding her coattails and helping to lift her up onto your back. Some people have eyes to see. Some people have eyes to look with.
Fine as well, because you can deal with them, you can send the boys in. You know, you can send the police in, you can bring in legislation to crack down on those people. You can use them as an excuse, they're fine. And then there's that fourth group, which for me is the major group, which is those that are aware of what's going on. Maybe they don't know what to do about it, but they're aware of what's going on. They have empathy, they feel for people that are suffering, whether it be in a war or anything else, in poverty. That is the group that the establishment has a problem with, because what do you do with them? They're not violent, they're not nullified, they understand and they're trying to get organised, and over the last few years that majority has begun to get organised and to fight back in various ways. So
that's the group. We won't lose this, but I'll leave you with him after this. Once he gets off the group. That's the group that people like Tim Dwyer and Lightbulb get hold of. Slightly, little bit more intellectual. The ones that want to put pen to paper. That's what happens with it. The ones that want to send an email. That button there. Yeah, it's delete. The only ones they read are the ones that are like, oh, geez, we better watch out in case this happens. And they use that. They use that to create more control mechanisms. Now, I'm probably the smallest minority. I'm the one that's telling you to go and do your own thing. Walk away from it all. Walk away from these grubs. Because one thing that they all have in common is they are encapsulating you into a small group of people that are right and everyone else is wrong. Since you can't unite and create a real movement, why don't you just all segregate and separate into your own home, stay at home and get to know your neighbours and unite that way. Unite over the fences. Start helping one another out. Fuck the government. Stop paying them. Why? What have they done to earn your money? For the last 50 years, can you think of one thing that they've done worth paying for? You can't, because there isn't. All they've done is created problems.
back and to destroy and nullify that large percentage of people, well, punch us in the head repeatedly, I guess, is one way. Make us feel like there's no joy in the world. Make us feel apathetic towards it. In the end, we're tired. And I wanted to walk through there because there's an old bridge, but that is just mudfest, so I'm going to walk around. But they want us to feel tired. They want us to be that metaphorical boxer that doesn't get to go back to the corner, doesn't get to have a drink, doesn't get to breathe, doesn't get to put some Vaseline on a head wound or whatever, so that we can then come back out again, ready to battle. And I think that's what all this is about. This constant targeting of those people that actually do have emotions and actually do care. All you have to do is turn on the television or scroll through your social media or turn the radio on, as I did this morning. And it's just bad news after bad news after bad news. And in the end, what they're hoping is that we'll go, I'm done, mate. It's too much. That's what they want. They want us to feel like there's no joy in the world. And there is joy in the world. There's plenty of joy in the world. There's plenty of beauty in the world. I mean, I'm happy at the moment, even though I've just walked down a complete cul-de-sac. I can't get anywhere, and I'm actually going to have to go through that mud. But it doesn't matter, because I am in a place where I feel joyful and comfortable, and that's in the country. So, what if we allow ourselves to go back to the corner from time to time? Doesn't mean we don't care about what's going on. Doesn't mean we take our eyes off the ball, far, far from it. Doesn't mean we don't fight back against these wars of aggression and all the craziness and the pandemics and the surveillance state and all this stuff. It doesn't mean we don't fight back against it. The Epstein class, we well and truly fight back against it. But we allow ourselves just to have a little breather every now and then, just to recharge. It doesn't need to be long. I'm not going to be out walking for long. You'll know how long I am out walking because you'll see how long this video. But allow yourself to have that. And so I think, what do I like? Well, I like the countryside. I like sunrises, although to be fair, today's has been a bit ropey, but either way, it's still magical because I'm seeing it. Which means I've survived another day. It means, like many of you, we are fortunate, I nearly fell over there. We are fortunate enough to have another day in the madhouse, because there are others around the world, particularly at the moment, that took their last breath yesterday and didn't get to see the sunrise today. So even though it ain't all that, it is all that, isn't it? It literally is all that. I love history. I love walking on history. This is the Cromford Canal. This was built in about, I think, 1796, I want to say. By Outram and Jessup, who were two absolute pioneers of the industrial age, unbelievable. And this bridge is from 1796 as well. And what I normally look for is rope marks there in the stonework from when they were pulling barges. I love that. So I find joy in that. I like it when Derby County win. I like it when the Neil Rangers win. Neither happen that often, but it brings me joy. And I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, it's bread and circuses. It is bread and circuses. But I like bread. I like circuses. And as long as I know that it's bread and circuses and I see it for what it is and I find joy in it for what it is, that's fine, isn't it? I love it when my kids just spontaneously tell me they love me or hug me, and not because they want something. Do you know what I mean? Not when it's followed by, Dad, can I have? But just because they felt compelled to do it. That brings me joy. And in terms of going back to the corner, in the metaphorical boxing analogy, mate, that keeps me going. Also joy from other people's joy. Like, if I'm out walking, for instance, just people are dead friendly. I love bumping into strangers, especially ones with dogs. That's cool. But my eldest, she's at a gymnastics class, and we go every week. It's a big class. There's loads and loads of kids, different age groups, and there's a big bell in the corner that if you get to master a new skill, or you learn a new particular move or whatever, I don't know what it's called in gymnastics, move, then you get to go up and ring this bell. And these kids go up, some of them are about 4 years old, some of them are about 14, I think that's probably about the age gap between, different classes. And they ring the bell, and everyone cheers, everyone turns around and claps and cheers, and their faces, just sheer, unbridled joy. Because they've got to do some kind of flip or roly-poly or whatever. And you might think, oh, well, it's a roly-poly, yeah, and it means everything. It means everything. I like a coffee in the morning. I'm lucky enough to have fields out the back of my house with horses and stuff. They ain't my horses, but I get up in the morning, I'll have a coffee and I'll look out into the field at the horses, and there's one of them. For some reason, its owner puts this like mask thing on its head, and it looks like a Mexican wrestler, and it always makes me laugh. Although I feel sorry for it in a way as well, because I think it makes the other horses laugh as well. And they often sort of walk away from it and turn their back on it. See, it stopped bringing me joy now. Now I'm analysing it. I like wrap pizzas. Have you ever had a wrap pizza? It's basically just a pizza, but it's made on a wrap. Like a tortilla wrap. So you get tortilla wrap and you build your own pizza on it. Mate, it's amazing. Don't sound like much, does it? But it brings me joy. I like seeing my friend Turlo and my friend Josh. They live miles away from me. And I'm seeing them next month, next month, April. It's March, innit? This year's flying. Yeah, I see them next month. They're coming up to stay for a few days. We're going out walking. It don't sound like much, but I'm so excited because I know within a minute of seeing them, granted it's probably been about 9 months, within about a minute of seeing them, all three of us will just be laughing. There's so ridiculous memories or whatever, of when we were kids. That brings me joy. I like crystals. My kids like crystals as well. My eldest has got this big sort of chest full of crystals that she's acquired over the years or whatever, like gifts and stuff. But some of them in there, I've dragged out from underground, from old lead mines. You go a couple of 100 metres underground and into the earth, and you end up finding these massive gilt crystal things. They're amazing. I don't know if I'm meant to be taking them out of the ground, but I don't really care. She loves them. What brings you joy? Because I think, all these things that I'm listing, people go, oh, yeah, but it's not that. You've got to focus on the bigger stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, the macrocosms are important, of course they are, but so are the microcosms, so are the little things that make everything what it is. They make life what it is. The first beer after an ice hockey match, even if it's better if you've won, but even if you've lost, you go into the change room, your teammates are all in there, and you scull that first beer. Just, yes, mate. And do you know what? This isn't a new kind of epiphany for me to think about this kind of stuff. I actually wrote a song in my 20s when I used to play in bands called Pleasure in Details, and it was about just this. Finding joy in those little things. And they don't want us to have joy. So in itself, finding joy, no matter how irrelevant it might feel in terms of, a beer, for me, that's an act of defiance. Because if you've got a bully, which they are bullies, and you laugh at a bully or you smile, think about the film Fight Club, when the guy's beating up Tyler Durden, when he's beating up Brad Pitt's character and Brad Pitt's just laughing at him. And the guy can't, what? So in itself, just finding those little things, just walking down an old canal.
I watched the thing the other day. Apparently there's a thing they do in Palestine with the Israeli soldiers. And they make them stand there blindfolded and count to 10, and then at 10 they shoot them with a gun on their head. Count to 10 and then I'll shoot you. And they'll smile. They'll count to 3 and then say 10. The ultimate act of defiance, even in my last moment, you still didn't whack it over me. That's still called the final shot. That's out of there. 1, 2, 3. And then they smile again. 10. Even when you take my life. You can't. You don't break their spirit.
I'll feel recharged off this, and I'll feel like this is an act of defiance to the establishment, because they don't want me to find happiness. They don't want me to be joyful. They don't want me to be friendly with strangers and walking down a path or celebrate, a kid's achievement in terms of a gymnastics move. They don't want any of that, because what it does is it recharges us. It fills up that battery a little bit. And they want us to be their battery. They want to feed on our suffering and our misery and our disillusionment and our apathy. So actually, whatever it is that you find joy from, ladies and gentlemen, playing a video game, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is. This used to be a brickworks. Ambergate Brickworks would have been an enormous industrial building and stuff back in the day. But see, that's geeky as you like, isn't it? And I love it. And, sometimes when I'm driving in the car, I'll point out the window. My eldest humours me, right? She humours me, to be fair. But I'll point out the window and I'll go, oh, that used to be a brickworks, or that used to be an ironworks. And my wife's like, cool, awesome, hun. Whereas my eldest kind of goes, my little one is just like, alright, she's a bit more savage. Oh, bothered, Dad. Making people laugh, that brings me joy. Sometimes when you say something and it gets someone. So you say something funny and someone starts to giggle. And then you see them a few minutes later. Maybe they're, making a cup of tea or whatever they're doing. If it's in the office, they're back on their laptop working. But then you can see it's still going. And it's still, that it brings me joy, that does. That makes me laugh. And I remember when I used to play football, I used to play in goal, because it's in the family. And if you made a great save, because I was alright in the day, to be fair, say you pluck one out of the top corner or whatever, and all your teammates come running over, and all the parents are cheering, I'd do my best to stay cool, like start barking at defenders to mark players for the corner or whatever. But I'd always start smiling, because I was happy. It made me happy. So even when I tried to be cool and hard, do you know what I mean? Like, the joy would always break through. Could never hide it. So why don't we let that joy break through? Not all the time, not constant. It doesn't mean just don't focus on anything. Don't speak out for anything. Don't fight for anything. Don't go in the trenches for anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but every now and then, even if it's for 5 minutes to watch funny videos of cats and dogs on YouTube, whatever. Take yourself back to the corner in that metaphorical boxing ring and recharge. Because you know what? I think this battle and this struggle is part of it. It's built into the programme. It's part of why we're here, why we chose to be here, I believe chose to be here at this time in history. Not to feel disillusioned and beaten and be defeated, but to win for humanity. And that's what this is. It is a war on humanity. And in this sense, it's a war on our humanity. They want us to feel lost and confused to the point where we give up and we almost lose our humanity. Whatever. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not doing that. Another thing I enjoy, just finally, is when my team wins. So I Derby County fan at football, New York Rangers fan at ice hockey, neither great sides. But when they win a game from a losing position, say you're 2-0 down, 10 minutes to go. Yeah, we've got old railway structures now. Mate, I'm in dreamland. I'm going to walk down the railway, I think. You're 2-0 down, 10 minutes to go. And then you pull one back, it's 5 minutes to go. You equalise in the last minute, oh my goodness me. Then it goes into injury time, you get the winner. Tell me, honestly, if you won 1-0 and you scored in the 10th minute, went 1-0 up after 10 minutes, saw the game out 1-1-0. You've won a game by 1 goal, you get 3 points. Or you're 2-0 down with just a few minutes to go and you turn it round, and in injury time you score that 3rd goal to make it 3-2. You still only won by 1 goal and you still only get 3 points. But boy, it feels different. it feels different. And maybe that's the point. Maybe at the moment, we're 2-0 down. But I have absolutely no doubt in a single fibre of my body that we're going to win this game 3-2. And when we do, when that goal goes in, and it will, and do you know what else? They know it will. Mate, imagine that feeling. Now that will be joy.
Thank you very much for watching and subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you'd like to take a look at all the other things...
That was Gareth Ike, if you want to go take a look. How good was that? Spot on, isn't it? Spot on, isn't it? I think he's pretty right, he was. Oh, he bloody off, matey. If I lived in England, or say, in 2 weeks, I'd be stuck talking like this for the rest of my life. Can't help it, can't. Must be the bomb in me. Hey. Hi, says I. They're indoors, innit?